All right, welcome back. A few of you were wondering, how do I create my thumbnails for YouTube? Well, I use a program called Pixelmator on the Mac, and it's just a few easy steps. I usually spend no more than maybe 5 minutes creating a thumbnail. I'm not doing anything complicated, but at least it gives me a thumbnail with really big text on the thumbnail. I'm going to show you that process by going back into the back catalog of my videos. I'm going to create a thumbnail for this particular video on traction. So because I'm doing screencast style videos, I need to pose essentially the screen representing the main content of the video. So usually I'll scrub through, especially if I'm going back. Now, if I have just recorded the video, I will actually pose the software so that it's showing the key elements. In this case, it's a toolbar and it's MIDI editing. So I'm going to just scrub through here, and this has got the toolbar. This looks pretty good right here. So I'm going to go full screen. And like I said, I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on this. Let's play a little bit of
video,
this.
how to match chords to note colors.
All right, so I'm going to go with this right here. And so I've got this section, I've got this toolbar. So I'm going to do a screen capture using Shift Command 3, and that captures it here to the desktop. I'll just quickly rename it so I know what it is. The Waveform 11 Pro Quick Actions bar. Next thing we're going to do is open it in Pixelmator. So this is the Pixelmator main screen. The first thing I'm going to do is crop it. You'll see that this has created my background. The background is the essential, MIDI background. All I'm going to do is actually add title text to this, and I might transform it a little bit, add some effects. And so I'm going to show you my quick process for doing that. This is the toolbar for Pixelmator along the side. I click crop. Once I'm in the crop mode, the very first thing I'm going to do is go to the custom size area and do 16 by 9. I'm going to use a pinch to squeeze that in a little bit, and I'm going to apply that. So this is kind of the main dimensions. If I click down here on transform, I could sort of stretch this to create some, kind of interesting things. So that just stretches the size. But if I want to really twist it, then I use command. So I hold down command, and then I can do something like this. And in the process of this, I want to kind of highlight the thing. Sometimes I'm after it a little bit of an odd look. Maybe I want to have it lay back like this, go up here. And here I'm really just playing around and try to be creative. The features in this particular video are MIDI editing and then this toolbar here. So I do kind of want to have that on the screen. And I'll just try some different things. I kind of like the look of it going downhill. I liked having a little bit of that video title, along the top. That looks kind of cool. So I'll twist around with this a little bit. This is really going to be only a background. It's going to add a little bit of color to it. Let me get that. So I've got that toolbar in the shot. Yeah, I kind of like that. So I'm just going to go with that. Let me get this lined up here. So I've got it square. Sometimes I'll have it going off into the distance, or I'll get some piece of it really big. So the next thing I'm going to do is add text. But to do that, the first thing we're going to do is add a little rectangle or rounded rectangle over it as a background for the text. So here are my shapes. So I click on this shape selection here, and then here's my rounded rectangle. So that's already picked. I've got it set to black, and then I just draw it in here. Now I go back to the arrow tool and then get it perfectly centered like that. I can also resize it, but I like it set up like this. So now that I've got it placed correctly, I want to set the opacity of that. Go back to the shape tool, and you'll see that here is an opacity slider. If I have that all the way up, it's completely blacked out, but I want to see through that a little bit. I'm just creating more contrast to the background, but I don't want to obliterate the background. With that done, centered, I'm going to go to the text tool. My text tool, I can just click on my project here. I'm going to type my title at this point. Waveform 11 Pro, and then on the next line, it was the quick actions bar. And then I just stretch this to where it covers the whole thing. I'm centered, and now I also line this up where it's centered like that. I think the bar, the background bar looks pretty good, but maybe it could be a little bit larger. So here are my 3 layers that I have so far. I'll click on the rectangle layer, and then now when I click here, I need to go back to the arrow tool. That's one thing I commonly do. I have the wrong tool selected. So I go back to the arrow tool. Let me just get that out of the way, and then make sure that's centered. Grab this, put it back. Or actually, I wanted to make that a little bit bigger. So I'll make that just slightly taller, drag it back to where that's centered, and I'll put this on top of it. And so the way I got this text so big is that you select the text, go to the text selection tool here, and then see I've got almost 263 pixels. I can make it bigger or smaller here. I have chosen the impact, but there's all different fonts. Any of the fonts on your system are available. I've sort of standardized on just the impact font. Depending on how many words are in there, you could adjust the character spacing, which is sort of a mass kerning switch to spread it out. Whatever you think looks better. I think for YouTube, bigger, more bold is probably better. So now I think I've got something that looks pretty good. I could go with this. I could publish that. And it's certainly better than just choosing one of the 3 default screen grabs from the system. But I like to add a little bit more style to it, and I do that by using an effect. So I'll add a layer, an empty layer. So I go over here in the layers area, add an empty layer, and then this star over on the right, that is where you add effects. So I'm going to add the effect, and my favorite one in here is under Stylize, Light Leak, and then this one here called Lyra. And the way this works is that you can grab this and you've got this light leak effect, which almost looks like, it looks like the edge of film. And it adds light and it adds color, and you can position that around and just do something interesting with it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it exactly yet. Maybe I'll put it here. And it would look better, I believe, going underneath the text. So we just take that layer and we can drop it like this so that it goes in the background. We see a little bit of it underneath that, the translucence of that bar. And once we've got that in there, it's adding a little color and light. We'll just tone it down slightly so it's not doing so much. I like to see those kind of light rays coming in there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then to see it without these things here allow you to adjust the angle and the position of that. So you can see how I'm manipulating that. I can make that bigger, smaller, or I can twist and rotate that effect using this. So I'm really just trying to add, something a little bit interesting. Once I've got it in there, then, like I said, adjust the amount of it. So you've got a little bit of a shine going on. And once I'm happy with it, it looks pretty good. I'm done. If you want to see what the completed thing looks like, you can turn off this control here, and then you can use your pinch commands to zoom in and out. So this is what I'm going to go with. Now I go to File, Export. So I've got the name of it here. I usually put capital Edit at the end of it. And then here is the other important thing. You can see the file size. The estimated file size is 884, and that's at 99%. Let's see what happens. If I turn it all the way up, it's 2.5. Well, for YouTube, it's got to be under 2. So we'll go back down to 99. That definitely puts us in the ballpark. We'll export that. And then back on my YouTube channel. And then I'm going to drop it right in this area here and make this my new thumbnail. I'll drag it right here. And so there I have my new thumbnail. I think that's a lot more attractive to click on, and that's essentially how I make YouTube thumbnails using Pixelmator. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video very soon.